Call the meeting to order. We're going to be led in the pledge today by Molly and Annie.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please stand up and say the pledge with me?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. Call roll, please. You ready to call roll? Okay.
Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Mr. Zeldin Rice?
Here.
Ms. Clodfelter?
Yes, here.
Ms. Nyworth?
Here.
Ms. Edwards?
Here. Okay, Mr. Hunt, do we have any special guest recognitions today?
Not that I know of. I see no one.
Okay, at this point, I'm going to turn the meeting over to you.
We're doing the tour at the end, so we will not have the architect, construction manager report. So we will move over to the departmental reports, and the first action is open transfer applications. And again, I'll move that we approve the open transfers.
Okay. Have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Call roll, please.
Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Mr. Rice?
Yes.
Ms. Clodfelter?
Yes.
Ms. Nyworth?
Yes.
Ms. Edwards?
Yes.
Yep, report of the superintendent.
Moving on to the superintendent's report. I'm going to do the action item first, the consideration of possible action regarding the Impact Community Center letter of proposal for the lease and future purchase of Andrew Jackson. You should have that letter. I believe Mr. Garcia and his team have done everything that was requested. I do recommend that we approve and move forward. I'm excited about their plans, and hopefully that partnership in a couple of years it'll be theirs, and it'll be a nice facility for our community.
I want to thank you from the school board, from my part of the school board, that you're taking on this project and stuff. I think from what I've read on your proposal, it's going to be amazing. So thank you.
We're excited.
Yep.
Blessing our community. Move for approval.
Second.
Call roll, please.
Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Mr. Rice?
Yes.
Ms. Clodfelter?
Yes.
Ms. Nyworth?
Yes.
Ms. Edwards?
Yes.
Again, thank you.
Now back to the superintendent announcements. First thing, one of the exciting things on our list, we came up with the idea. One thing we've talked about when you guys hired me was curb appeal. The city of Lawton's talking about curb appeal. I'm really excited. You know, I don't know where we came up with this idea, so I'm going to claim it. It's the best way to do
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Now, so what we've done is we put every school in this little hopper, except for, now we left out Eisenhower Middle School because they're under construction, and we left out Eisenhower High School because the construction's around there. Every other school's in here, and we're going to, as long as we're progressing, we're going to draw one out at every board meeting, and that school gets a makeover. And whatever school gets drawn out, we'll contact their principal, and he can put together his committee, and we'll give him 7 to 10 days to bring a proposal to us. And then some of it will be fencing, which we've got bond funds. So to set a dollar amount, there's some bond funds available for some things, but we definitely want to make security a priority from our sheet. We want to make this curb appeal. We want to improve the curb appeal. I've toured all of our elementary schools I've walked through, and they all are really, it's amazing the pride inside the buildings. Yeah. And I think part of the problem with the outside of the buildings is I think we got to a point with past contracts and so forth where people weren't real sure whose job was what. So part of the deal is they understand when they win this and they get curb appeal, it's going to be on them to make sure that whether they're telling us this needs to be done and doing work orders and following that chain or what. So if Miss J.C. Mason will come up, we've asked her to come operate this little elementary thing that it took me 5 minutes to show her how to use it. So if she... Who is the winner?
Ridgecrest.
Oh,
Ridgecrest.
Good job.
Awesome. So we will be visiting Ridgecrest on Monday. We'll be talking with their principal and put together a committee. And if any of you drive by and have suggestions, feel free to put them in. But this is going to be exciting for us, and we're going to try to do one every board meeting. We have looking at the agenda, about 20 board meetings. We'd like to get this done in 2 years. If we can fast forward it and do 2 at a board. You just got to start somewhere. It's, you know, you'd like to say, okay, next month we're going to have all 30 sites done. But we have to start somewhere. So this will be the first one, and hopefully we'll have a lot to report at the next meeting.
Can I ask a couple questions?
Yes.
Yeah, I do too.
I think this is obvious, but I just want to make sure we say Eisenhower High School will get this. It'll just be
Yes,
later.
yes,
Yeah.
they will be added back. What I didn't want to do is,
Yeah.
there's going to be some things that we're going to have to sit down with the construction people and say, okay, you guys mess this up, or you guys cause this damage, you have to fix it before you leave site that is partially Eisenhower High School or Eisenhower Middle School.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody will put their name back in the hopper when
Yeah.
we sign the final closure deal and the construction company's no longer there.
Okay,
So
and-
and even the middle school will go in at some point, because I'm assuming they won't get a ton of landscaping and things like that. So we'll put so every site will get it, and then the goal would be maybe after you get every site once, you put back in and you just draw one a month from now on, and you kind of get in a 3-year process where you get drawn out every 3 years to always update and always keep the curb appeal, because it's going to create pride in our communities
It's
as
going
well.
to make a huge difference in our community, and I've heard stories of principals and on the east side that are spending their own money to go buy flowers so that and
I've
plant
brought
them.
many
And
flowers.
It's
I just-
everywhere.
I think it's incredible that they're doing that, but this will be a great blessing. So do they? We're doing this is all exterior stuff like paint and landscaping and fencing and all that.
Curb appeal.
Curb appeal.
Most of the buildings looking inside, I felt very good walking through the buildings of the Pride there, and I think the Pride's on the outside. I just think it's, like you said, is it me? Do I need to buy my own stuff? Where do I get it? You know, Lance is kind of tight. It's hard to get any money out of him. But I just think really they don't know who to ask, and it's just been one of those things. And so the hope is that when we start this process, I mean, obviously now that it's out there, because we really hadn't announced it, you're going to have them start putting together. Probably the next school we draw out, they'll have their plan ready the next day, because they'll start working on their plan now,
Exactly.
hoping they'll get drawn out. But hopefully, again, it'll improve Pride, and we hope to get to every school as soon as possible.
I think it'll make a big difference in our city and having some good before and after pictures, and I think hopefully it'll be inspiring with the business community.
And I do have a meeting on Wednesday, I believe, with the city leaders, and we're going to talk about what they can do to help with this.
Okay, good question for leading for me. Go ahead.
Because that's the whole idea is we have bond money, we have building fund money that we recaptured with the Sodexo contract, we have general fund, we have different sources of funds, and even the money, different things the city's doing with their curb appeal. The idea is how far can we stretch our dollars to get the best bang for our students? And so we'll work really hard to tap different sources. There may be some community entities. The other thing we've already looked at is we want to put a digital sign at every site that wins. We've already talked to what's the name of that sign company?
Arrow sign.
He's probably watching. Yeah. But obviously, I'm telling you right now, his quotes are better than any. We've talked to outside entities, and he's by far. That's what I was going to say. I mean, he's going to do us good with that, and so we'll put digital signs up so that we can start advertising in color, with digital, and they won't be the signs where somebody's got to go out there and stick the numbers on. So that's another thing. It'll just improve the perception when you drive by a school. It improves the perception of that school.
It's going to make a huge
In
difference.
our bond issue, we had some fencing.
Yes.
And it took forever
Well,
to get it done.
Still haven't been done.
It hasn't been done.
That's what I was thinking.
It's been out
Because I
there.
keep watching this one fence going,
Yeah.
But there's
We haven't done it.
there's nothing out there unless it's very unique in it, because I haven't read every one of the that you have to do them all at one time.
No.
We can
No,
do one,
no,
and
no.
when we redo this fence, we can charge it to that bond issue.
yeah, well, we were supposed to have bids a year
Yes,
ago.
and so every
We
time
did.
we
We had bids twice.
That's what I was thinking.
so every time we do one of these schools, the fence, anything we do with the fence will be charged to that particular bond issue that had the fence.
Okay.
So you don't want to say the exact amount, because how you spend but the ideal is when it's done, that's going to be a school. When you drive by, you're going to say, "Hey, man, I'd really like for that would be a nice place to go to school."
Right.
So that's what we want to improve on.
Well, you talked about city leaders. I assume you've been to Tomlinson Middle School.
Yes.
Okay, do you see the road that runs right there
No.
between okay, there's a road that runs from the school. When you go down it, you have the school on this side, you have the parking lot on this side, and the baseball field. Who is in charge of upgrading that? We kind of need to know. Is that on the city? Is that on us? Because that parking lot and that part of the road is in terrible condition.
I will check with them.
We need to
Because that's
really
going to be
look at that.
just, sealing parking
so
lots,
too.
recapping parking lots. As you know, we got the bus barn parking lots in the process through the bond. But still, we've got some major parking lots. It's going to take some big expenses, but we're just going to we're gonna trudge forward and try to get, because if, you know, Lawton High parking lot's huge. Whenever we ever get to Lawton Eisenhower High School, that parking lot needs a lot of work.
Yes, it does.
So that's why you can't say, different schools are gonna take different dollar
Right.
amounts and different creative from
Of
myself
course. Yeah.
and Lance and our other leadership team to
Our
to
deal
get
is
this
we
done.
just need to know who's in charge of that. I mean, you probably have to go and look and see.
Yep, I
and
got
see
that.
who's actually in charge of that part.
I got that on my list.
And then
I'll ask them.
I'll talk to you later about the stuff at the parking lot at the bus barn. Well, I can tell you.
Okay, now I'm going to move on and hopefully not
Let's
miss
go.
anything because I got a little bit here. The good news to share, Lawton High School senior Nathaniel Bowman was selected as a finalist in the Pulitzer Center's 2020 Fighting Words Poetry Contest. His poem Cracks was ranked in the top 3 of nearly 1,000 entries from around the world.
Wow, that's awesome.
So very, very good. All 3 Lawton Public School high schools have been certified as 2020 Promising Practices in Character Development.
Awesome.
Schoolsbycharacter.org, a nonprofit organization nationally known for its 11 Principles Framework for School. This year's character development practice and initiatives included peer mentoring, service learning, and conflict resolution packets. So we're very excited about that. The other thing we've got going on is we put out a survey yesterday, pushing 4,000 responses about school and reentry. You're probably getting, for the most part, about 65% are coming back to school, as long as we have minimal safety standards, which is nothing less. If we make sure we're talking about putting the hand dispensers with the sanitizer in every classroom, every hallway, as long as we have that.
What about safety shields?
Are we going to do masks?
We're getting up to that. Mask, you're going back and forth now because you're going to have some that want masks, some that if their kid has to wear a mask. So we've kind of put mask and we've talked that mask will be something we totally decide upon maybe August 1st. One thing we put in the survey we put out was we will run another survey on August 1st so they understand. Probably the biggest takeaway from the survey was about 10% of our kids, including elementary, is going to want some kind of virtual option. So we're starting to put together a kindergarten through 5th grade virtual option or a blended learning option. We're going to release some documents on that in the next day or two, maybe even tomorrow. We've started putting together podcasts of just how that'll look. And again, the ultimate goal of Lawton Public Schools is to create a learning environment that's effective for your kid where you feel safe. Because safety is always, 10 years ago when I started as a superintendent, they say, what's your number one goal? Safety. Well, that hasn't changed. Our number one goal is safety. It's just there are different issues of safety, and obviously COVID's one of them. So we're going to do everything we can to make our parents feel safe and create different learning plans for them. And so right now we're looking at either having virtual, blended, or the traditional, what we call, and so our goal is still, it looks like if we started traditional school tomorrow, we'd have about 75% of our kids walk in the door. About 10 or 15% of them aren't sure. I think the big issue with those who are looking, there's another 10 or 15% in there somewhere that are saying, as long as you're practicing safety with fidelity, we need to find out which ones theirs are. And then the mask is going to be the kicker, and that's going to be a nationwide, because it's going to be hard to get kids to wear a mask when you drive by the Little League fields and they're packed and nobody has a mask on. You go to Walmart, no one's wearing a mask. So, if our numbers continue to spike and our state puts out everybody has to wear a mask, I think then it gets easier for us to tell kids they have to wear a mask. So there's going to be some back and forth on that, but we're really excited with what's going on and the number of people that are working our elementary. Because when we kind of pushing this out, because we expanded the virtual academy 6 through 12, but we never said we were going to do it in elementary. And really those who are in the virtual academy, Jay Lear and his team, they're really not elementary minded. So I got with Karen Cooksey, and she went and got with all the elementary experts we have in this building, and they sat down and worked on a plan, and they're going to work so there'll be a different group of people leading the elementary side of it. Although Jay's over there, that's his project. He's going to get some help on the elementary side, because those of you who've been in elementary and high school, they're two different worlds.
Yes.
They're just, you just don't treat them the same. So we're really excited about that. Any questions on that, on reentry or anything I could answer that you guys are hearing?
Okay. You said something to us about one-to-one, that we're going to start the school one-to-one. What level, how are we doing one-to-one?
Well, here's what we're looking at. We won't have computer labs. We won't have carts.
Right.
Every kid pre-K through 2, if he can get them in, AJ's Every kid pre-K through 2 will have an iPad.
Okay.
The iPad will be in the classroom, that kid's iPad. We won't
Okay.
share back and forth. Every kid 3 through 12 will have a Chromebook. 6 through 12 can take their Chromebook home. Is that kind of where, that's kind of
Okay,
where
that's what we're looking
that's
at.
kind of what we're looking at right now. Again,
Okay.
a lot of things are fluid, but the ideal is we don't share devices, because
Right.
again, that gets into, you don't want 7 people using the same keyboard you're using.
Right.
And so it's going to create a little bit of, because in some places they're using more than one device. Like I think Thomas and some teachers like iPads, some teachers like Chromebooks, and they start sharing. Well, it's just going to create, for a while, that's going to be a safety issue. We'd like to get wherever we had more devices, obviously, but with our COVID CARES Act money, and we applied for a grant, we have proposed ordering enough Chromebooks and iPads to get us to 1-to-1. We've also put in to order enough Wi-Fi hotspots for those people at home that don't have Wi-Fi to check out through the library. Yeah, it's in the agenda, and part of that, as you see, there will be some insurance, like maybe $30 insurance you would pay for your child's, just so that it's insured.
Right.
And most people would rather insure a Chromebook than it's, and same thing with the little Wi-Fi box. I don't, did we set a price? Maybe $10 or $15 just to insure the Wi-Fi, because it's only like $60, but still those things, if they get lost or whatever, they'll be covered.
Yeah, I, as a veteran of 3 weeks of virtual schooling, with a first and a third grader, my third grader, he was using an iPad and it wasn't good enough. So he had to have my laptop to do the assignments that were being given him. And I really worry about these kids that have no devices at all at home, and you know.
And that's what we're going to do, because it's theirs. We've always talked, we've just tossed out ways. So let's say a kid, the parents want them to quarantine for 2 weeks, and they're in a classroom, and they're going to go to some kind of blended learning with their classroom teacher, and they don't have a device. We can use our marshals or our officers, our neighborhood, somebody in that neighborhood to take that stuff home to them. And that's just some samples. We haven't come up with the exact plan, but that's their iPad. To send it back and forth every day with a second grader is not really something we've crossed yet.
No.
But if that child is going to be home for a week,
But we're prepared
even with
to
the
let
flu,
them take them. Okay.
if we know a child has the flu, because we know now I can say this because my kids are grown, but we were bad about sending our, they're just a little bit sick, with the flu. I mean, there were people sent kids to school with the flu. And we really think that's going to be changed. So now kids are going to miss, instead of 2 days with the flu, I think we're going to have kids miss 5 and 6 days with the flu, because
Maybe 2 weeks quarantine.
yeah, because parents are going to keep them home at the beginning and a day or so after to make sure they're well, just because they don't want to spread it to other. So if they go, when those things happen, we'll be able to send those devices
As
home
long
with
as we're
them.
prepared to do that.
And it's going to be, and here's the other thing we're looking at, just, you'll hear that districts are starting to put virtual days in their calendar. Okay, we're putting virtual days in our calendar, but we're doing it on site. So our kids will be there and the teacher will be there, and it'll be practice runs where the teacher's teaching the kids like they're not there. And a perfect example is we did a chat with our leadership team where we were all in this room, 30 of us, and we did a chat where people weren't supposed to talk to train on how to do that. So we're not having virtual days yet on the calendar. We're not asking, because that's something you guys would have to approve, obviously, but we're not asking to say we're going to have 10 virtual days where kids won't come to school next year. When we start talking about the virtual days, we're having, matter of fact, what we talked about today in our leadership, and we've talked with AJ's team, is we'll move those around. So AJ's team, so we'll do them in like 13 different days. We'll do it. So we'll do one a month at each site, but we'll do them 13 different days. So AJ's team's only got 1 or 2 buildings. So like when they're doing it at Lawton High School, they'll be the only place in the district doing it. So his team can be in there supporting the teachers, and plus it'll help us on our network and everything see how well we can support. Because the difference is, anything we do virtual now, the expectations are going to be we learn. Before, the expectations were that we just reviewed and maintained. We're going to have to introduce new standards virtually from now on. So there's a whole change in that. So, but we're excited where we're going.
Well, it's good, and also what I could see as the problem, what became the problem when we did this for our review. Not everybody gets on the same page. You've got everybody doing something different. So even though we mandated that you do things a certain way, not everybody did that. So that'll be a challenge for our people.
And really, we have a team that's Ms. Hatch's team. They're really working on that, and we're really, and I think it's going to get those that have taught before. I think that's going to get easier.
Good.
I think the teachers are going to understand now. There's a reason why we want to be and as somebody told me today, speaking English, we want to be vertically and horizontally aligned. You know, what and when we teach it is up to the district. How we teach it is up to the classroom teacher.
Right.
And I think that understanding and that I think the willingness to do that is going to be stronger now than it was a year ago, because I think teachers are going to say there is a reason. If you're in the third grade, you should all be there. What if 20 kids want to go home? If everybody's at the same note, we can change it there's just a lot of flexibility that could happen between now and middle of August.
That first week, the parent has to have training. I mean, it isn't something you just go, oh, okay. Because there's a lot to what has to be done and how it's done.
Yeah, and I'm just in the survey and people I've talked to, I'm guessing there's over 50% are wanting their kids in school if we'll open the
I
door.
wouldn't doubt that either.
I know at my house, my daughter's wanting them in school.
Again, things could change, but right now when you pick up and look at the number, kids 18 and under are very safe.
Right.
This is it's people that get my age and older that it
That's
gets,
old folks they bring it home to.
my age and older that it gets dangerous for. But
If
Yes.
somebody did not get that survey link, can they still take it? Because I
Yes.
had lunch today with several parents. I was literally the only one at the table that knew anything about what I was talking
okay,
about.
it's still open.
Okay.
Evidently, it's failed for
Okay.
a
So,
certain section of people.
can I
It's on
send-
Facebook? It's on Facebook.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And
That's
send
perfect.
if somebody has it, send. But it should be. Is it on our webpage and social media? And
Okay. That's perfect. Thank you.
I am so pleased about the technology that we're getting and what we're doing. I know this has been done quickly because of COVID, but this is something that I'm proud that the district is doing, and I think we've been lagging behind, and this will get us where we need to be.
And I will say this, COVID gets in there, but I will say when I took this job, there was no doubt in my mind it was something you as a board expected
Yes.
me to do.
Yes. The other thing I have a question is, okay, will attendance policy change next year from what it's been in the past?
Well, because virtual changes attendance across the board. If
Right.
a kid works at home,
They're
you
still
don't
in
have to
school.
count them absent.
Right.
And so some of that will be things we will have to iron out. And, the worst thing about this COVID for us as administrators and teachers is every answer creates another question.
Right.
Yeah, I just thought of another question.
But every answer creates another question, and we're still working off of hypothetical, where are we going to be on August 1st? So I hope parents understand that, but also we send out the survey. We want to make sure all of our parents know that we are doing everything and working diligently to find a safe, effective learning environment for their children that they feel comfortable with. And if it is at home, then if we have to provide the devices and the Wi-Fi, we're becoming prepared to do that. If it's at school, we're going to be prepared to do that. And we are working to get sanitizers in every classroom, hallways, everywhere, because I know that's a big thing, is washing hands and that hygiene that they know kids don't have. Because when you have your kids at home, you know your kids. But if you have those pumps everywhere, you guys see it. Everybody's just getting used to. You walk into Walmart. Everybody hits it at Walmart now. Everybody grabs that little rag and wipes off their cart. Things we used to not even think about. We're getting better at, and I think those habits, we got to make sure we have enough of that available. Because the worst thing you can do is be out in a couple stations and then kids quit hitting them because they never have them.
And I think those things are great because they don't interrupt the school day. It's not requiring a mask. It's not everyone can get on board with that. Temperature checks too. Are we looking at doing?
We are looking at temperature checks, thermometers for different things. We're also looking at, and again, the technology behind them is a little, but they're moving fast. The thermal scanners.
Yeah, but the ones that we're using at the hospital, they just hold them up, hit your forehead, and
They're fast. They're quickly becoming price consistent, where you can put it in that doorway, and everybody who walks through that door, it checks their temperature, and if they check a temperature, it basically takes a picture of them, or somebody can be sitting right here, and and then you grab them and take them over, check them. So, because it is, but our elementaries with 250, 300 kids, a principal and a counselor can stand there with a couple, but at Lawton High,
But they all come in through the, right?
yeah, and they will, there's some of that we'll do.
Right.
So we're going to have the temperatures. We're going to try to get the thermals just to make it smooth. But right now, I would say, if we started school tomorrow, we would do everything we could to check everyone's temperature.
Yeah.
Now, where that'll be is how important it is 6 weeks from now.
Well, and everybody's studying the UV lights and
Yep.
spraying machines that you turn loose.
Yeah, we have some of those. So we're working towards some of those things, and we're staying with the CDC. Like I said, right now our goal would be to have if we were starting tomorrow, we'd definitely have as many hand sanitizer stations as we could. We'd have temperature checks, and then if those who wanted masks, we'd try to make them available for them.
Yeah, because the second thing you have to think about temperature, we have to wear our temperature all day at work, at the hospital. They put them on bands and we wear them all day.
Oh.
How are we gonna keep up with who got the temperature taken and not unless you write them all down on a piece of, you know? I mean, that's your second part. You can take that temperature, but then how are we gonna know?
Complicated, you wanna get complicated.
Yeah,
Right, but
exactly.
even if it's not perfect, it's
It's starting, it's starting.
Yeah, and
It's
it
just a-
is,
it's just a second
it
thing.
does go back to the perception. When you walk in a store to shop and they take your temperature and ask you a couple questions, you feel safer shopping in that store than when you just walk in the store. Huh? And whether, you know, I just think we're gonna just know we are following the information, and what we're telling you today, hopefully we add to it on July 15th, and it's not a lot changed, but we hope the numbers are better on July 15th, and we all feel more comfortable with what we're doing. So, but we are monitoring everything. We're listening to what other schools are doing. I'm not a fan of kids going to school Monday and Wednesday, and and I'm not talking about. I feel like our students and our parents are going to want our students in school for the most part, and then we just got to find out how we're going to be flexible for those for health reasons, family reasons, or just for their personal preference. They don't feel comfortable with their kids going to school, and we just got to create something for them so we can do our best to educate those children.
Well, and I know Marriott knows, you know, the food service side of that is when you go in any of our restaurants now, you know, you walk in and there's nobody wearing masks and you're, you know,
Yeah.
sitting one on top of each other and I don't turn around and leave. But, you know, I'm sure they're up on all what has to be done.
And I think that's true. But, you know, our next consideration as we're going through this is our parents. Most parents work, and we've got
Oh, yeah.
to, you know, be thinking,
Crazy.
and we are. I feel like that's what you're doing, is you're saying that.
And obviously our staff.
Right.
Our staff,
Our
because we
staff.
do have staff members that are over 65. We'll have more staff members with pre-addition conditions, finding a way to work our staff and keeping them, telling somebody that it's nowhere on our plate to say you can't work because you're not healthy enough to work.
Exactly.
You know, we've got to find, that's the challenge we have as well as the next 6 weeks. I think most parents are ready to send their kids to school. I don't think a lot of the parents that aren't ready to send their kids to school are going to be those who have grandparents or they themselves have pre-existing conditions, and they don't want the kids to bring it home to them.
Right.
But staff is going to be a challenge, and we're continue to work through that with HR and see how that's going to look.
I like that you guys are surveying, because I do know that there's a lot of parents, myself included, that want as normal of a school year as possible.
Yes.
And then you've got others who are scared and don't want that, and it's just good for us to hear the voices. So.
And the other last thing on the key point of we talk about the 3 learning models. We're going to do everything we can to make the transition from one to another seamless. If you choose virtual and all of a sudden it's better and you want to go back to traditional, we're not going to say, no, you got to wait till next year. We got to wait till, we're going to move. We're going to do everything to make it, again, we work for the kids. And so we have to make their lives as comfortable as we can and make it the best
So
we
they'll
can.
have a desk, even though they may be a couple.
There you go.
A desk for everybody.
There you go. Anything else?
Oh, you said desk.
Yeah.
I heard disc.
Yep.
Desk.
Yes.
The freezer is up and running at the warehouse.
Ours could be ready for put food in.
There you
on
go.
Monday.
Awesome.
Yep.
Anything else on the number 8, the consent agenda?
Does anybody need anything removed from the consent agenda? All right, got a motion.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
I'll call roll.
Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Mr. Rice?
Yes.
Ms. Clodfelter?
Yes.
Ms. Nyworth?
Yes.
Ms. Edwards?
Yes.
Need a lot on it, too. That's really awesome. Okay, now, do we have a need for an executive session?
I have no need if
Does
you guys
anybody
need it.
feel like they need an executive session? Okay, all right.
All the way to number
So we're down to-
13.
Well, actually,
Go
it
get
goes
it.
down to here, 9.
Oh, okay, you're right. I'm sorry.
It's, yeah, so 9A.
But yeah, here's where you get out of it. So 13 is where you come out of it. 13.
Doing, we're just not doing an executive session.
9 is just all the reasons to go.
Oh, that's right, yeah, you're right.
13.
Yeah, you're right.
Sorry.
No, you're
Throws it
right.
out there.
I'm so used to just going.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, go ahead. So, do we, well,
Approval of the certified and support personnel report?
exactly.
Okay.
We have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the.
Second.
Call roll.
Ms. Bradley?
Is that executive
Mr. Rice?
session? No, it's on.
Yes.
Ms. Clodfelter?
Yes.
Ms. Nyworth?
Yes.
Ms. Edwards?
Yes.
Okay, then, approval of employment of the middle school assistant principal, 10-month. Julianne Hardeman. Have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
Second.
Okay, call roll.
Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Mr. Rice?
Yes.
Ms. Clodfelter?
Yes.
Ms. Nyworth?
Yes.
Ms. Edwards?
Yes.
Okay, 13C, approval of the board-appointed positions for the 2020-21 school year.
Move for approval.
Call roll.
Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Mr. Rice?
Yes.
Ms. Clodfelter?
Yes.
Ms. Nyworth?
Moving too fast
Ms.
for
Edwards?
Yeah. Yep. All right, any new business?
I've done.
None? Okay. Next next regular board meeting is Thursday, July 16th. That's perfect for me, at 5 o'clock here. And do we have a need for any additional board meetings between now and then? Nope. Any board announcements? One?
I don't have an announcement. I just want to make a comment. Kelly mentioned earlier that Eastside principals were spending their own money. I want to say to the people in this room and to the people watching on TV that educators all over this town are spending thousands and thousands. And I'm talking about support through everybody. Thousands of dollars. And what they have been for the last 47 years that I've been involved. And so, you know, we need to thank them for that, but hopefully we will make it where they won't have to do as much of that in the future.
Well,
But-
also, to speak about that, we also have an amazing amount of parents and community support
Absolutely.
that will step right up and
That's
will
right.
pay for a whole class to go on a field trip or a whole class to be able to do things. And I mean, those things have been greatly appreciated always.
Right, but I don't want that to go unnoticed.
No.
When, you know.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to imply that.
Oh, no, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that.
Yeah,
We know how you are with that
No, I
side.
don't know.
I want to thank them all. East side, west side, midtown, wherever you are.
Oh, we're getting zoned on me.
Exactly.
I'm not used to that.
Oh, yeah, we get zoned.
I'm not used to this territorial.
Yeah.
West side, Central Middle, we're all through I'm through the
Yeah,
middle.
I love it.
East side.
Who
we're
get,
great.
who's his Ridgecrest?
That would be on Patty's side.
Okay. So if you're free Monday early, call me and you can go with us when we take our first
Just let me know
tour.
when you're going.
Awesome.
It'll probably be about 9. I haven't looked at my calendar though.
Okay.
I
I'll
better-
look at.
Okay, so recess. We're going to recess and reconvene at Eisenhower Middle School construction site. Everybody's driving their own vehicles, and we're going to tour with the architect and the construction management at risk. Okay, do I have a meeting? Need a
It's
motion?
not on there as a motion, that's what I was looking at. I move we recess.
Second.
Call roll, please.
Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Mr. Rice?
Yes.
Ms. Clodfelter?
Yes.
Ms. Nyworth?
Yes.
Ms. Edwards?
Yes.
Okay. We put this stuff up.